Oh man, you already know. My favorite scene and the most exciting scene that I did was the kidnapping.
I knew he was gonna say that.
The fuck? Who the fuck is that? Oh my God!
Fuck up. Get that bitch in the corner.
Get your hands the fuck off of me! You know who my fucking daddy is!
Make sure you tell her daddy we want $250,000 $1 million. You hear me? I'm not fucking playing with you, or this bitch is dead.
Never nervous ENT, gumbo, gifted underdogs, making business ordinary.
Speak on it. Reppin' KC till I die. We been to town. You know Westport to 18 and Vine. It's going down. We support the town. We don't hate. That's not allowed. We just on the come up like the next man on the come up showing love. We just wanna see you get a W. We ain't tryna trouble you. Come through and get comfortable with us. For real. Ain't nobody doing it like us. Stacking up the dollars is a must. Think of us. If you got something to say, come speak on it. Every little thing, we be on it. If you ain't heard of us, get up on it. We do our promotion, come be on it. If you got something to say, come speak on it. Every little thing, we be on it. If you ain't heard of us, get up on it. We do our promotion, come be on it.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Speak On It. I'm your boy, Mr. Fisher, and today I'm sitting up in here with Lonnie, Trigger Mike, and Mr. Lorenzo Hughes himself.
I looked at it, I was confused. So I said, okay, man, do they know they already done paid me? A couple days later, another check came.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, okay. I said, let me call my agent because I ain't trying to spend this money to have to pay somebody back.
Exactly.
So I said, hey, call my agent. I said, hey, look, this Lorenzo. I said, did you know Kansas City Star to send me 2 checks? They already paid me. Do I need to just bring these down to the agent?
Right.
And they were like, no, that's your money. Those are residual checks.
Right.
And I was like, residual checks? They said,
Yeah.
yeah, you're just going to continue. As long as the commercial is running, you'll continue to get these checks.
You continue to get them checks.
You know,
okay.
So these checks was just coming, man. And I was just like, maybe I need to start looking into this acting thing, you know.
So that is true. Okay.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
like, maybe.
it's true.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, maybe I
Yeah,
need
they
to look
keep
into
sending that
this
money.
acting thing, you know. So, yeah, that right there was the inspiring moment. Then, you know, I started researching schools and community theater and all this
Right.
stuff.
I'd have been there too after 2 or 3 checks. Like,
Right.
Man.
What advice would you give an upcoming actor that's trying to make it out there?
Training. Because it looks glamorous when you see it
It
on
does.
television, but it's hard when you don't know the technicalities of it. Meaning that because I've had a chance to work as a sub agent and things like that, you know, if you having difficulties like reading, things like that, you really got to brush up on your reading. Like I would tell people, you know, read the paper and read it out loud.
Right.
And when you read it, don't read it like you're reading, read it like you're talking.
Gotcha.
Because you're going to do a lot of reading, and the difficult thing is you're going to do a lot of cold reading. For example, I moved to Chicago in 1999, and in Chicago I did a lot of cold reading, where they'll send you the script, or you go, at the time in the 90s, you go pick the script up.
Right.
You go, so you introduce yourself, say I'm here to pick up my script or
Right.
my sides, and you pick up the script, you do your script analysis, and you study your character. What I found a lot when I was in Chicago, and it's probably the same in a lot of markets. I didn't find it that much when I was in New York, but what happens is you show up for your audition, you done studied the character of Lorenzo, and you get there and they see you and they say, and you do your read, and you know what? They say, you know what? I think you'd be better as Todd. Let us give you that role. Let us give you that script.
Wow.
We'll give you 10 minutes to go outside and study it. So you have to go outside and you have to study the script,
Man, I
aside
can
of the other
imagine.
script that you originally took 2 days to
Sure,
break
right.
down and everything, break it down. You studied the history of the person, what age he is, he got family, and all that. So you go outside and you have to do a quick study of this character, and you go in, and that's what they call a cold read, which means you didn't have time to study or do your script analysis or your research.
Right.
Right.
So,
Right.
which means you got, and the thing that where people fail in this industry, especially like when they're doing readings, is they mispronounce words or they don't use it in the right context.
Right.
So when you take these trainings, you learn how to audition, which means that you have to understand when you go into an audition, they understand that you're doing a cold read, so it doesn't hurt to come in and say, what does this word mean?
Right.
And with some of us, we have this pride where we are afraid to say, hey, I don't know what this word means, or I don't know how to pronounce it. So you try to use it in what you think it means, or you try to pronounce it the way you want to pronounce it, and you're wrong, which kills your audition.
Exactly. You know what, man? That's crazy that you said that about as far as what people have to do in order to get into a specific character. Now, this is kind of offset a little bit what I'm about to tell you, but I got a friend of mine who was in a group called Talent that R. Kelly had signed from down here in Kansas City. And when he would write his songs, what he would do when he was writing a song for somebody, he would dress like however that person dressed like. Like if it was a woman, like they have caught him in the studio like with dresses and heels on and shit. For real, this is a true it's a true story. My homie told me this, and he stayed out there with him in Chicago when he was writing music, and it just kind of shows sometimes how much you actually got to put into getting into character.
It's kind of like the psychoanalysis of it. For example, if you go in to audition for a role, and I've seen this on a lot of auditions, and whenever I go in and audition for a role, I dress like that character. Because when you dress like that character, you tend to emulate what it is that you're wearing.
Right.
You feel more in touch, or you feel more like you have a relationship with that character. So you want to dress like that character, the character that you're reading for.
So that's
how would you know how
the
to dress like him?
It's just like acting. If I hired you to portray a businessman,
Gotcha. I see where you're going.
You want to use your idea of what a businessman is, and what you want to do is you want to convince the people that are auditioning at you that you are the person to hire based on your perception of what a businessman is.
Right.
You have to be able to emulate that.
Yeah.
The best type of businessman that you've envisioned and that who you are.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense.
So it's like you don't know what they're really looking for.
Right.
But you go in and you give them the best of what you got and hope that that's what it is.
Right.
To convince you. You got to convince them that you are what they're looking for.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it do make a lot of sense. I'm going to bring it back just a little bit.
Okay.
You said that you used to be a model.
Right.
You know we be having modeling stuff around here all the time. Do you ever consider going back to the modeling?
It's like I said, it's about money. I'll give you this quick story.
Okay.
It wasn't always about money. For example, I started modeling when I was in high school, and I only started doing it was really for the girls, really at the time. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because at the time when I was in high school, my senior year in high school, and my junior and senior year of high school, I was always doing these church fashion shows and stuff like that. People always come to me, yeah, you should do this fashion show, or you should be a model. And at the time, I wasn't trying to do that because I thought that was only for women. I thought only women did modeling. Like I said, in high school, that's for girls. Only women do that. Mm-hmm. So I would do all these little fashion shows, and one day I sat back. Somebody was like, yeah, you should be a model and this and that, because in high school I dressed clean. I was clean when I was in high school. So one day I sat back and I said, man, maybe I should be a model. And I said, man, how many girls I can meet, And so I looked into this school called Nancy Bounds Modeling and Finishing School.
Okay.
In Omaha, Nebraska. And I enrolled in this school, again, thinking about how many girls I can meet. But when I enrolled in the school, I paid the fees and everything, and the schooling was probably about a year long. And they taught modeling, etiquette, how to dress, how to get in and out of cars, how to take women out on dates, and it was part of the etiquette. I had to change my hair and all this different stuff. And we had to learn how to walk, how to work in front of the camera, what their best points of view are. So we did all of that for a year. And it was a lot of cool stuff that I did learn, but what ended up happening is toward the end of my program, I started doing work. They started working me before graduation. I started doing work for Half Price Store, and I knew some guys. In the professional part of it, I started meeting these guys who were working down here in Kansas City, and it was like, well, man, hey, you ever think about doing any work in Kansas City? And I said, no, man. I said, I got an uncle that lives down there. I said, but no. And at the time, they had Jones Store. Down here, they had Jones Store, Macy's, David's Bridal, Saks Fifth Avenue. Tommy Hilfiger was doing 2 shows a year here. Joseph Abood was doing 1 show. And so I came down here. I drove down a couple times. I met with a couple agents. They liked me.
That's what I'm like. I didn't know they was here.
Yeah, they were all doing a lot of stuff here. So when I came down, I met with a couple agents, and they started booking me right away without even signing with them. So I first started doing stuff for Jones Store. Jones Store booked a lot of stuff. They booked a lot. So they shot a lot of ads. So I started doing a lot of stuff for Jones Store. Then it was David's Bridal, doing a lot of their fashion shows. Wow. So I was driving back and forth a lot. Yeah. So I ended up moving here.
Do you ever get
in
like
93.
that stage fright when the camera's on?
In the beginning, yes. But after a while, it becomes like riding a bike. It's like it's like your business. It's like your job.
Natural.
It's your hustle. It becomes your hustle after that.
Right.
It's like if you got a hustle that you have, you comfortable in it.
Right.
When somebody comes to you.
Right.
Or, so you become comfortable with it. But do I get stage fright? Yeah, I still sometimes will get stage fright. If it's something that I'm not so much familiar with, I might get that little bit of stage fright. Yeah. A little bit. But I use that as fuel though. Whenever I get stage fright, it's like fuel for me.
Yeah. That's how I be feeling when I be in front of the camera. I just be like, man, and then I just get to the point where I be like, man, I'm just gonna be myself, and that's that. And
that's the important part.
I get into my comfort zone.
Yeah, that's the important part.
Yeah, I get into my comfort zone.
Right. But to answer your question, it's a business. It became a business. Like I said, first it was like for the girls, but when I learned the money side of it, when we got to the business side of how much money can be made, then it went from being about girls to about money. When I saw the price tag on the work, so then it became a hustle after that. Okay. So would I get back into it? Yeah, for the money. Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna jump back to movies. You got a movie that's recently out that you like?
That's recently out. Man, the last movie I watched was Kevin Hart's Fatherhood. Man, and
I thought that was a good movie.
I thought it was a good movie. The thing I like about movies and watching professional actors is I like to see them step sometimes out of their regular character to see what they can do outside of comedy.
That's what Kevin did.
And he did good. Even though he did, he still had his comedy side of him. It's good to see him do something that's a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. So that was the most recent thing that I watched.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
I just watched it not too long ago on Netflix. It's on Netflix now, so I watched it.
Right.
I see what you're talking about when you're kind of stepping out of
when you step
outside of, you know what I'm saying, the regular Kevin that we used to, you know what I'm saying? So
That's the beauty about the art, to see somebody do something outside of what you normally see.
Yeah. Because for a while I was thinking like we're gonna ever see something outside of Kevin Hart besides goofiness.
Right.
I did want to see him get a little serious, and that was a good movie for him.
Yeah. I agree.
Golden Gloves.
Golden
Gloves. What was your favorite scene to shoot in Golden Gloves?
I like the fighting, man. If I was to say I had a favorite scene, man, hitting them bags, man. Like I said, I grew up boxing and everything, and being able, it just kind of took me back. And whenever I got into the gym and I got a chance to see those bags, to see that ring, and to put them gloves on, I had to put my hand on them bags, man. Whether it be the heavy bag, that double end bag, but like I said, that heavy bag, man, I could hit that thing all day long. Right. Shooting that scene was great. But like I said, that would be, if I said I had a favorite scene, it would be that. Okay. But any time that I'm able to tell the story of my character in any type of film is always a great scene. Whenever I can get in front of the camera and try to tell that piece of that story.
Gotcha.
So it's always great. But like I said, I love hitting that heavy bang.
What about you, Mike? You was in the movie.
Yeah, my favorite part, not actually with me being in it, but I like how he kind of constructed like the boxing arena and had like the crowd with the music. And it all going hand, went together with everything,
Yeah.
But I just think that the crowd could have been a little bit more bigger.
But first movie.
I like how he did it though. It was on point.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Right.
What about you, though, boy?
Oh man, you already know. My favorite scene and the most exciting scene that I did was the kidnapping.
I knew he was gonna say that. He did the kidnapping scene with my brother.
That was my favorite scene, man. It was all so fluent, and everything was so smooth, and it was just like you were saying earlier, like if you playing a person that's like you, then you're not acting.
So you a kidnapper?
You just been
you're a kidnapper.
I'm not.
Right, you're a kidnapper.
I don't like to say that.
But when you can tap into that fantasy, though,
You can tap into that.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can tap into
You can
it.
tap into that, man, and to be able to emulate that. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my
That was a lot of people's favorite part of that movie, too. As for me, personally, it's two scenes that I like doing. It was a scene that we did at Gates when you went over the plan and stuff. I thought that part was really dope.
Yeah, that was dope.
And Ed already gonna know about my second one, the Niecy's part, when we was at the restaurant, and I finally got to shoot somebody. I was telling Ed the whole movie. I said, man, I gotta shoot somebody. I was like, let me shoot one person.
So you was like Dabu and be cool.
Yeah,
Dabu, you gonna get to shoot somebody.
Yeah, at first he was like, no, and then like he kind of ran in at the last minute. He was like, you know what, I got something for you, Stevie. You've been waiting on this. I was like, oh yeah.
What's kind of crazy is I forgot that you had like those type of roles in the movie.
It was great though.
I love that movie, man. Golden Gloves,
Golden
man.
Gloves.
Yeah.
If y'all ain't seen it, make sure y'all check it out, man. Patreon.
Hanging with the homies up next.
Hanging with the homies up next, and City of Kings.
Yes, sir.
Old memories, man, of being in the gym and being able to hit that heavy bag.
Right.
Yeah, I did see that look of joy on your face.
Yeah, I love it, man. Boy.
Especially that day we saw that part. He was, Otis, I'm ready for a fight.
I love hitting the bag, man. I hit that thing all day.
Whatever happened to Otis?
Man, that Otis win the win. We gonna leave Otis win. We gonna leave Otis where he was at. It was a story behind Otis. We ain't got time
catch him
for
in
it.
part 2 or something.
Yeah.
We gotta catch him in part 2.
Maybe. Y'all have any questions for Mr. Hughes here?
Man, what's gonna be the next thing that you're gonna be working on, man?
You know what? I'm gonna drop this on y'all right now. I've been kind of keeping it kind of under wraps. I'm working on a project of my own. Okay. I'm working on it into being a mini series, and it's called Swope Park: The Search for the Kanoichi. And to kind of drop a little bit, I don't want to give too much. So I'm kind of thinking here. I didn't know. So I use the term Kanoichi because back when I was younger, I grew up. Like I said, I grew up fighting, boxing, martial arts. Wrestling, and I studied ninjutsu because I had some friends who studied at Robert Bussey's Ninjutsu Academy. And when I was studying ninjutsu and everything, I heard the term Kanoichi. And the Kanoichi in Japan is a female ninja. And she was one of the most dangerous of all the assassins. And it was because of her ability of manipulation, because she was able to get to her target easier than the male ninja was, because she used seduction as her way to get to him. But the cool thing about it is her weapons was crazy, man. She had combs, pens, brushes, lipsticks, different type of and they were weapons. And what they would do was they would taint these different needles and pens and stuff with different types of poisons and stuff like that, and her ability to cook and put poison in the food. She was just a crazy assassin. So what I've done is I took these stories and I kind of combined them together. And what I did was when I studied the Kanoichi, I started looking at other like female warriors. So when you go back to like, you know, start looking at more of some of the warriors in Africa.
Yeah.
When you start looking at some of the queens of Africa, the warrior queens of Africa, they still had the same warrior-like traits, which were crazy, man. And when you study and you go back and study these things, dude, man, it is really educational.
Yeah,
when you study this stuff, it's crazy. Man. So what I've done was I took this idea and I modernized it to see what that would look like. What would the Kanoichi look like today?
Right.
And why would she be kicking people's ass today in Kansas City?
Okay.
And what her relationship to Swope Park be?
Okay.
So I just leave it at that.
That's a dope. I can see where you going with that though, but yeah,
it's dope though, man. The idea is dope. I modernized
idea,
it and everything, so yeah.
Can I ask one more? Well, what do you have a platform you gonna put? Is it gonna be on YouTube or like?
I'm looking at a couple different platforms because what I want to do or start doing is because now this is not to really knock a lot of the independent and student filmmakers. Like I started out and I highly suggest working with independent, low budget and student filmmakers, especially when you're starting out, because not only are they practicing, you need to practice too.
Right.
So doing, you know, work for free is good practice, you know, because you have to be good at what you're doing, you have to be doing it. But at the same time, at some point, you want to get paid for what you're good at.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you're good at it, you want to start making money. So I'm looking at ways, if I do this miniseries, is to make sure there's money involved, even if it's not on the front end, definitely on the back end. Yeah. You want to start looking at, if you can't pay me today, can I get paid on the back end? So what's the purpose? Are we doing this? Is there a goal? Right. So that's the goal, is really to do this not for the sense of getting likes and stuff like that, but for the sense of getting paid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Perfect sense.
We wish you nothing but the best.
Appreciate it.
Exactly. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm working on the trailers right now. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to shoot several trailers to kind of generate the hype and the interest, and then, you know, at the same time still working on, you know,
on the project.
The scripts. Yeah.
Is it gonna be on Facebook, YouTube?
The trailers will be on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna be looking out for that. Well, that's probably all the time we got here for Speak On. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We appreciate you coming through, Mr. Hughes.
Appreciate y'all having me. All right.
Y'all already know what time it is, man. This is Speak On It, and we signing out.
If you got something to say, come speak on it. Come speak on it. Every little thing, we be on it. We be on it. If you ain't heard of us, get up on it. Get up on it. We do our promotion.